On October 3rd, for a mighty $600, you can have yourself your very own 2-foot-long drop test dummy, much like the Mandalorian treats his own Razor Crest. So this video will be my first impressions of the nearly 6,200-piece UCS Razor Crest. So let's start by looking at LEGO's official press release images. Now these can be found on the LEGO website, so you can go check it out. So two things I'm noticing about this new Mandalorian figure. The first is obviously the arm pieces. The arm pieces are actually printed now, which is pretty cool, whereas in the previous figure, you just had the leather brown arm pieces. And then you're also getting more detail, and it looks like some more contrast on the actual cheekbones of the helmet, as well as on top of the helmet, you're getting that little cross piece as well. So this is definitely making it a lot more accurate to the show, which is very nice to see. So while we're kind of talking about the minifigures, we do have Grogu and his little pram. I didn't know that his little carriage was called a pram, but I looked it up and it's actually a hovering pram, which is kind of interesting. You learn something new every day, don't you? Next, you have the Mithril minifigure, which, okay, I'm glad that they gave us a Mithril, pretty cool, but the shape of the head is just not exactly what I'm looking for. Like, the ears are just kind of printed on there. I kind of wish that they actually came out with a sculpted head for this guy. And then also, obviously the torso is a printed piece, but you're literally getting, for the arms and the legs, you're getting the same just poop brown color. So honestly, a little disappointed there. I kind of wish that they stepped it up, especially for a $600 UCS set. The minifigures, they need to be top notch. After about 10 minutes of looking it up and looking at the pronunciations, I have finally figured out that this guy's name is Queel. And obviously the Blurg, which is the buildable figure. Both of them look really nice, and honestly, these are probably my favorite figures in the whole set, especially since obviously we haven't gotten Queel before, so it's a good addition. They honestly could have gone in the direction of like a giant Boba Fett style figure where the Blurg was actually a sculpted piece, but I kind of like how it's buildable and that Queel can just kind of sit in the Blurg on the saddle, which is definitely a nice addition. Probably my favorite set of minifigures from the set. So while we're still looking at this first image, I want to talk about the UCS plaques because it's still a freaking sticker. So they're not changing this until 2023, but we have gotten news that the UCS sets in the future will have printed plaque pieces, which is, why didn't they do this before? No doubt in my mind they should have done this before, starting with the very first UCS sets that they printed with plaques, because you are paying $600, $700, $800, $850 for these UCS sets. They need to have printed plaques. It's just ridiculous. So I'm glad that they're doing it in the future. I don't know why it took them this long. Moving on. And then while I'm on my rant of stickers, come on guys. Really? Stickers on the outside of the UCS set. Really? Like, you can see the difference in gray and yellow coloring because obviously the sticker machine isn't perfect and they can't ask it to be perfect. So these stickers really cannot be on the outside of my $600 Razor Crest. I'm sorry. Like, there is a time and a place for stickers. If the sticker is adding utility specifically on the inside of the set that is not going to be displayed and not going to be seen a lot, and you're looking for those little intricate details on the inside of the set, then I can see you being able to use stickers. But on the outside of a $600 set, it baffles me why they wouldn't use printed pieces, especially because these printed pieces, you know, they would add a little bit of value to the set. Right now you're getting a giant masterfully crafted piece of plastic and then you're putting paper on it. So why not just print a couple pieces, make your fan base happy, and move on? So let's talk about the box art for a second. There's not very many UCS sets right now that actually have like a background to the actual display piece on the box art. And I think that they just chose this sunrise or sunset with the cloudscape to sort of accent the colors of the Razor Crest, and I actually like it. It's not too terrible. I know that the black box is on and off for people. Personally, I like it. If you're looking for some sort of really bougie box art design, just open it up, go to the inside, and you'll see a bunch of art from the actual show, and it looks pretty sweet. So I'm glad that they did that on the inside. I'm not really looking for anything in particular on the outside just because, like, it's a box. You're there to build the Lego, not admire the box art, if that makes sense. Okay, so don't get me wrong. This Razor Crest is pretty dang accurate and it's pretty sweet. But the LEGO designers sort of had to work within the boundaries of realism in terms of this ship honestly doesn't look that good. Like, it's definitely nostalgic for the whole Mandalorian crowd out there, but when it comes to actually viewing it as a ship, it's kind of ugly. And the angles of the build and the techniques of the building don't seem to be all that special. And what I mean by that is you can basically see how this thing is assembled. You have a base that you build up, and then you have some wings with engines, and you kind of have an interior, some landing gear that is clearly somehow attached by Technic, and that's about it. There's definitely a couple cool angles when it comes to the actual bow of the ship, and of course the movable parts that we'll get into later. But aside from that, I don't think we're going to be seeing very many techniques that we haven't seen in LEGO sets in the past. Now, when LEGO designers are building a $600 set, my build experience better be amazing, and I need to be awed at the techniques in this build, and honestly, I don't see that from this build. So that's definitely one downside, but the finished product does look exactly like the ship from the show. So honestly, I'm critiquing LEGO less here, and honestly, Star Wars lore in general, because I think the Mandalorian ship could look cooler, but that's just my opinion. Yell at me in the comments. So the best feature of this set for sure is going to be the playability. It's got tons of little details inside of it. So let's start with the movable parts. The first one that is honestly pretty cool is this big back hatch. So it opens down and all of the minifigures can go inside. They even have the little blurg going inside, which is pretty sweet. And that figure isn't small either. So the inside of this is definitely pretty sweet, but you also have another movable part, and that's actually the side hatch, which you can view more of the interior. So the playability of this just on the outside is already pretty great compared to other UCS sets where you actually have to like take panels off or whatever. I think this set is going to be pretty sweet if you just want to kind of show it to people, pull things around, move things, etc. The first interior feature that I want to talk about is the carbonite room, where the Mandalorian has all of his convicts kind of lined up in carbonite, and they show this. There's sticker elements. Now this is one place where sticker elements are okay because it's adding to the sort of plot and detail of the set while not taking away from the exterior appeal of it. And you also have the little chamber where the mithril is locked up as well, which is pretty cool. Now I want to take a second to talk about the cockpit because honestly, it's the Razor Crest. You have to get the cockpit right. It's like one of the best parts of the ship. So I think they did a really, really great job here. This thing can fit all of your minifigures, aside from, of course, the blurg, but it can actually fit the minifigures. So it's a lot like the AT-AT Walker in that sense, where you can actually load them up and pretend to fly it around like a little kid. And the cockpit's also fully detailed, which is definitely nice. And it's also got a little place for Grogu. So I think that that's a great addition. And the cockpit, probably one of the best interior parts of this ship. Now let's go back to the outside. One thing that I have that is seriously killing me that I need to talk about right now, and that's the underbelly of this ship. Now I know that you're not going to see the underbelly on most LEGO sets, so it doesn't need to be all that detailed. However, the landing gear on this thing is pretty tall. Like, I would say 4 or 5 inches tall. If you have landing gear that's that tall, then you're going to have some issues if you're trying to store or display this massive set somewhere a little bit higher on a shelf, because you're honestly going to be looking up at it most of the time. And what are you going to see? The underbelly of the ship, because the landing gear is so massive and it needs to hold the ship up, which is fine. But if you're going to do that, then you need to have sort of detailed underbelly so that you're not staring at giant Lego plates and Technic pieces the whole time. So yeah, that's probably one of the most major downsides of this set, especially with other UCS sets as well. We see like the Star Destroyer or the Millennium Falcon. They have detailed underbellies, so you can kind of view it in a 360-degree angle. No matter how you view it, it's semi-detailed. Now, I'm not talking about like as detailed as the top, that's fine, but at least plate it up and make it look nice, you know? This set definitely has a lot of downsides, especially for a $600 UCS set. So we talked about the sticker elements. Again, I don't think that you should put sticker elements on the outside of a $600 piece of plastic. And honestly, the build as well seems to be pretty predictable. We'll have to build it just to see. I'm sure there's going to be some pretty cool parts of it, but as for the build in general, it looks pretty simplistic. And honestly nothing that we haven't seen before. And obviously the underfinished underbelly is a major downside for this set. Now, this set isn't all downsides by any means. The minifigures in this set are definitely sweet. You're getting mostly unique minifigures, from the new Mandalorian figure that's newly accurate, which is pretty awesome. You're getting the Grogu, which isn't unique, but it is pretty cool that it comes with its pram. And the Mithril, which is definitely probably my least favorite minifigure out of all of them, but it's still a unique figure, so I'm glad that we're getting it. And definitely the best minifigures by far are going to be the Queel and the Blurg, especially because Queel actually has that sculpted headpiece that looks amazing. And again, most of those are unique, so definitely pretty sweet, and they probably will remain unique considering this is a UCS set. And one of the best parts of this set is the playability, especially of the interior. You can lower those hatches down, view the interior, have some fun on the inside of the ship. Those are my first impressions of the UCS Razor Crest. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this set. If you had $600, would you spend it on this UCS Razor Crest, or would you rather get a different UCS set? It's hard to say, and it probably depends for a lot of people. So that is the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, give us a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. And as always, see you next time.